Hello Wolfpack, looking at Bitcoin today, but before we get into it, I'm just going to briefly talk about what happened in my last video. Now, everyone seems very shocked that my last video's topic was quite, I guess, straightforward. I said BTC, Bitcoin won't return to 40k until 2023, obviously aside from the next few weeks while it's here. And people were very shocked by that, but I don't really understand why, because that's the same thing I've been saying for the last few months. And I think since I've made a very bearish video yesterday, right, which is basically my opinion right now, I think it only serves me well to make a video going over the bullish evidence, right? Because I never have at any point whatsoever, literally at no point have I said that the bullish argument can't play out. It 100% can play out. In fact, it's not even that unlikely to play out. It's just more unlikely than the bearish argument, in my personal opinion. That's why I'm sticking with my prediction. But, it's still got a chance to play out. And especially on a shorter term scale. Okay, now, do I think there's going to be a bull market reversal where we see a bull market again, we go to new all-time highs? I think that's unlikely. I think you can say that's definitely unlikely, like very unlikely to happen. Do I think we can, come up to like 46k, maybe 50k, something like that? Yeah, like sure, could happen like that for sure. And I think there needs to be a distinction that's being made here. I'm bearish not because I don't see any chance of Bitcoin going up. I'm bearish because I see more chance of Bitcoin going down. Okay. There's obviously bullish arguments to be made. There's obviously bullish, factors to be taken into account. But at this point, I see the bearish ones as more strong. Let's look into some of the bullish arguments. So I guess you could say one of the bullish arguments of Bitcoin right now is the fact that, well, we have an RSI downtrend, okay? Historically speaking, when we see RSI downtrends, let me just bring up this RSI here. For example, we saw a massive RSI downtrend where it didn't really matter what the price did, but we saw a massive RSI downtrend there. And we also saw a massive RSI downtrend here in around September, something like that, right? It was a bit more clear. You could draw it out better if you had the time. And then we also saw one over here, okay? And generally speaking, when we see these RSI downtrends, what typically happens is a break to the upside. We usually see, a massive amount of bullish price action that comes from that. Now, obviously, this isn't just an uptrend right now on Bitcoin. It's actually a triangle formation, but it's worth noting as well, this wasn't just a downtrend. This was actually a descending wedge formation, okay? And so all of these are actually patterns in themselves. And, if we look at September, that's not really a formation, but we look at something like November, that was a kind of descending wedge formation. So the RSI has market patterns just like the price has market patterns. Typically speaking, when an RSI has a downwards market pattern, it typically breaks to the upside, which typically leads to the price breaking to the upside. As we know, and as we've been talking about quite a bit, the triangle on the RSI is going to determine the direction of the break on Bitcoin out of this yellow ascending triangle formation. Now, ascending triangle formations in themselves are very bullish formations. And then when you're taking into account that typically when you see an RSI downtrend, that's bullish as well, you have to kind of ask, well, there's a decent chance we could break to the upside here on Bitcoin. And I'm not denying that. I haven't denied that at any point in time, okay? Now, what I did say in the last video was that 42.5k looks unlikely to break. I think we're probably going to drop below that and not break above it. I'm going to go ahead and kind of retract that statement a little bit. I think that it's a little bit too early to tell whether 42.5k would break. I was looking at preliminary evidence taken from the hourly chart, but what I did see kind of almost immediately after making that video was a descending broadening wedge formation, which is typically a very bullish formation, and we broke that to the upside. Now we're heading upwards for a possible another retest of 42.5k. All right, so I will retract that statement. I don't think that 42.5k is going to be so, difficult to break. I think it's a very big resistance zone. I think, it will be interesting to see what happens, but I'm kind of neutral in that respect. And as for being within a larger triangular structure, we have to kind of ask ourselves, well, we can't necessarily be bearish or bullish right now in a triangular structure. Why is that? Well, we had a massive downwards price action. Now we're in a consolidation pattern. Now, if the consolidation pattern was clearly a symmetrical triangle formation, I would say 100% that's bullish, but it's not clearly a symmetrical triangle formation. It could be. It's debatable as to what it is, actually. Could be seen as a descending wedge, could be seen as a, ascending triangle, a symmetrical triangle, whatever. And so we don't actually know what the formation is. And so to be certain with our claims is quite difficult here in this price region. Now, another thing that I'll look at for the bullish argument is the fact that, well, we have a weekly candle that has closed very nicely after holding the Ichimoku cloud for support on basically 3 weeks in a row. All right, it's a very nice weekly candle close there, and that would suggest we come up to the 50-week SMA. Now, for those of you who don't know, the invalidation point for my current bear market prediction is getting above and closing above the 50-week SMA, which is this red line. Okay, and that's currently sitting just below 46k. So get above and close above on the weekly chart, 46k, and we're bullish again, in my personal opinion. All right. So, I think that there needs to be kind of taking a step back when you watch my videos, okay? I say all these bearish things, and I am bearish in the market, but understand that's a prediction. It's not a fact. I'm not a prophet or any means by that. All right. There are arguments to be made for the bullish argument. Now, why do I think it's bearish? Why do I think it's bearish? Well, I speak about it every video. Let's talk about it again. Historically speaking, every time we drop below the 50-week SMA, we end up at the 200-week SMA. That's happened on 5 separate occasions now. Historically speaking as well, when we enter the Ichimoku cloud in a bull market heading into a bear market, we generally drop below it. Historically speaking as well, I could bring up another thing like a Gaussian channel. When we enter the Gaussian channel and enter red in the Gaussian channel, we typically drop below it and head to the 200-week as well. There's many, many, many things. Another thing would be, well, looking at something like the 4-year cycle theory, and I know that some people don't like this theory, but it is very much still the case. In terms of date ranges, not necessarily in terms of percentages, it is very evident that Bitcoin is targeting the 200-week SMA again, and it's targeting that region in around November 2022. Okay, and you can take a screenshot here, pause the video, look at that all you want. That's targeting 2022. We had the exact number of days from the last cycle applied to this cycle, and the top was marked to the day. Okay, so very hard to kind of deny that evidence there. And so when you're looking at things like the RSI on the daily chart, you're kind of, just ignoring the fact that a 14-year long trend is playing out perfectly, and you're just kind of acting like that doesn't exist. That's why I don't agree with Patea right now. That's why I don't agree with people being bullish right now. I don't think it's necessary to be bullish. Now, in terms of macro, what do you have? Well, what you have, for example, when looking at something like bonds, bond yields, we have bond yields pumping to the sky. Why is that? Because bond yields kind of predict interest rates movements, okay? If the government of the Federal Reserve is going to raise interest rates, bond yields, pump, essentially, because the market's predicting they're going to raise the interest rates. Now, Jerome Powell yesterday came out and said that they're going to be aggressively raising interest rates, possibly more than 25 basis points, possibly 50 basis points, basically every single FOMC meeting this year. The next one is in early May, okay? So interest rates raising over time is undeniably bearish for traditional markets. When you see bearishness in traditional markets, it leads to a lot of people going into cash. When you see a lot of people going into cash, it leads to the DXY pumping. When the DXY pumps, Bitcoin goes down. It's very correlated. Everything here is connected. And so for me to look at the TA, for me to look at the bearish TA, the bullish TA, okay, it's a little bit... For me to look at the TA and say that, well, there's a RSI downtrend and, we're holding support, it seems a little bit of a weak argument to me. There's way more than the TA when you look at something like this. The macro picture is very evidently bearish at this point. Now, if we break above 46, we break above 46. At some point we have to realize that, well, I don't know about you guys, but I've been bearish since 66K. All right, I officially made my prediction at 58K, but I've been bearish since 66. I've been saying sell since 66. So if I buy back at 46, was it really a failed prediction? I'd say it's a pretty successful prediction. I saved myself a 70% loss on altcoins and the mental stress that comes with. So, before you come here and judge me for being bearish, because I know that's a pretty big thing. People love to judge bearish people. You need to understand that it's not just about the current state of the market. It's about the macro picture. And it's about where my prediction has actually come from. And why would I just flip on a dime right now and say it's bullish when we're in the middle of a consolidation structure? It doesn't make sense to me. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin, guys. I'm not trying to just make this whole video to cover myself or anything like that, because I understand that no matter what I say, there's going to be people who are very upset with me regardless. Even if I'm correct, they're going to be upset because they lost money being wrong. So there's really no winning when it comes to being a bear in the cryptocurrency market. If you're correct, it's luck. If you're incorrect, you're bad at analysis. I mean, it's really just like that. So, I could easily come here and say everything's bullish and everything's all good and get thousands more subscribers, but why would I do that? I need to be honest to myself. And yes, the claims I made in yesterday's video, yeah, I genuinely believe that is the case. Do I think it's certain? No, not by any means. All right, so just take a step back and analyze the market from an objective standpoint, realize these macro picture events, realize the risk that's coming in the market right now, and understand that maybe now is not the best time to be getting bullish yet. All right, yet. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.